Corp. You know, the place where the factories grow out of the ground, where organic matter dies and steel takes its place. Yeah, that's the place. There used to be so much guantanium here back in the day, the fumes of Lyria's atmosphere could have gotten you high. Well, I heard a lot has changed, so I decided to check it out, see if Corp gets the Elguapoe stamp of approval. I think it's time to see if Lyria still has some love for us. Let's get into it. Elguapoe's master rating and mining locations review. The moon is relatively small, yet has over 15 quantum points to jump to. This gives you some pretty good chances of not sifting through someone else's scraps. Entering Lyria, you will notice a lot of similarities to Walla. The flying on Lyria is very smooth. Unlike Walla though, Lyria gets very bright. It makes seeing those diamond markers pretty difficult when you mine on the light side. Lyria used to be home for us miners. With the changes to mining, I seem to miss the harsh wetness and the cold landscape here. If you want to give Lyria a shot, be prepared for the chances of rainy and foggy weather, and make sure to have your keybind to wipe your visor handy. As it was with Walla, clusters here are looking nice. I never even had to jump to a different point because every location I went to here on Lyria, I ended up with great clusters. Now let's get into the meat and potatoes here. Let's talk about the stats. Lyria has a lower percentage of quantanium than Walla at 2.1%, but a higher bexylite and terranite percentage, as well as a lower gold percentage than Walla at 5.5%, 5.5%, and 5.9%. Lyria has a lower percentage in comparison of agricium and borates at 13.9% and 13.5%, but it also has a much higher percentage of beryl, hafestanite, and laranite at 18.1%, 18.9%, and 16.6%. When it comes to common elements, Lyria is almost identical to Walla. If you haven't seen my video on Walla, I suggest you check that out to get a better idea. To put it simply though, you have a 38.5% chance of finding aluminum, which is a little bit less than on Walla. Aluminum is a tier 1 common and possibly the best common element to mine in the game. You also have a 30.1% chance of finding corundum, which is 1% less than on Walla. It has a density of 4.02 and a mass to SE ratio of 134. On Lyria, you have a higher chance of finding tungsten at 31.4% in comparison to Walla. Once again, tungsten is possibly the worst common element you can run into. It has a density of 19.3, compare that to aluminum's density of 2.7. A 60K tungsten rock equates to something around 15 to 20K rock composed of aluminum, for instance, when you are weighing in your profits. As I did in the previous episode, I want to talk about multi-tiered rocks again. I do not know if my RNG was bad on the days I was mining on Lyria, or just better on the days I spent on Walla. I do know I saw a few rocks containing more than one tier 1 or tier 2 elements inside, but I would say half as much as what I saw on Walla. This does not mean that it isn't littered with them. Just from my perspective, over the 3-day period I spent there, it seemed to be about half of what I witnessed on Walla, which is still more than a lot of places. I would like to now take the time and showcase a few breaks and loads I got while out there on Lyria. While I was spending time on the planet, I didn't just intend to hunt tier 1s, I just happened to find a lot of great rocks and had to mine them, of course. What you are witnessing here is possibly my biggest solo mold break to date at a mass of 68,000 found here just on Lyria. As a tier 1 hunter, the statistics in reference to Lyria's tier 1 percentages got me a little excited. Despite the average looking numbers from Walla's stats, I still came back with quite a lot of my favorite tier 1 elements in the last video, and Lyria has an even higher chance of having bexylite and terranite. Despite having a slightly lower chance of having quantanium, I seem to get even more than on Walla. I personally don't put as much weight in what the stats say in comparison to my general experiences on a planet when it comes to deciding on what place I like to mine at. With gold being a pain in the ass, I could care less about lyria having a lower density of it. Let's shift focus to refineries. The two nearby refineries being AUec and AUec bring some interesting positives and negatives when the time for refining comes. AUec, at the wide forest, you mainly find negatives. Unless you only have quantanium, I don't recommend you using this station, let alone making it your base of operations in this area. At AUec, on the other hand, I completely recommend making it your base of operations if you decide you love mining in the ArcCorp area. With bonuses of 3% to quantanium, 7% to gold, and 2% to both Bexlite and Borays, you have some nice incentives to keep coming back to this awesome space station. I mean, sure, you have a negative 8% to half-ass tonight, but who wants that trash anyways? Just place other tier 2 elements as priority over it while you're out mining. As for my final thoughts on lyria, I would say it treated me nicely. I don't think lyria is as good as Walla, but is definitely pretty damn close. The only reason why I would say it scores a little less than Walla would be due to the multi-tiered rock situation and the slight chance of finding less quant here. Overall though, I love my time here. I felt like I was swimming in quant. I felt like my time here is mostly spent mining quantanium and terranite, to be honest. You definitely need to give lyria a shot.
Listen, Judy, I paid you guys at Colex for a rush delivery for a reason. Can you get it there or not? By today? Okay. That sounds good to me. Now we're good. Chris, I was just gonna call you. Listen, I didn't mean to... No. Listen, I know we've had our issues in the past. Let's just bury the hatchet. I know I sent you a box of shit. And? You sound a little unhinged. I thought you would like it. Thought that's what you were into. Okay, well, I won't do it again. How's that sound?
Now let's wrap this up.
Lyria. When taking into consideration the percentage of tier Q through 2 elements, the common materials, and the ease of flying, Lyria gains a respectable EMR score of 80.5. Due to its proclivity of having multi-tiered rocks, it also gains a total of 10 points, bringing our EMR total to 90.5.
It's safe to say that ArcCorp has gained the Elguapoe stamp of approval.
Next time on Elguapoe's Master Rating Locations Review.
The place beyond the pines, where so many miners have forsaken, where a lot of us gained our chops, established our roots, and began our campaigns. Hurston is a beautifully ugly place. A rock miner's paradise that sees no love from the mole. Are the rumors true? Should this oasis be avoided? What will we learn? Or should I say, what have I already learned? I'm sure once I release my info, some villains might try to bury me in my research. Well, let them try. If it's war, come heavy.